The customs officer looked at my empty hands.
No passport.
No visa. No identification of any kind. Just me, standing at the international departures gate at JFK Airport, holding a one-way ticket to London and a heart full of desperate hope. My hands were shaking. My palms were sweating. The ticket felt like it weighed 100 pounds. Ma'am, I can't let you through without a passport. I know. Do you have any other form of identification? Driver's license? State ID? Birth certificate? Anything?
No.
Just this ticket.
He sighed.
He was a large man, early 50s, with gray hair and tired eyes and the kind of face that had seen everything. He had probably heard every excuse in the book. Lost passport. Stolen wallet. Dog ate my documents. He was about to call security. About to have me escorted out.
About to end my only chance at freedom.
Then he looked at me again. Really looked. Not at my hands. Not at my ticket. At my face. At my eyes. At the terror I was trying to hide. Wait a minute, he said. I know you. You're Zoe Turner, aren't you? My blood went cold. My heart stopped. My legs turned to jelly. Yes. I've been looking for you for 3 days. Your fiancé has been calling every airport on the eastern seaboard. JFK, Newark, LaGuardia, Logan, Dulles. He said you might try to leave without your documents. He said your parents took your passport. He said they locked you in your room. I didn't know whether to cry or laugh. Alex had found me, across the ocean, through a million phone calls.
He had found me.
He said to tell you the wedding is still Saturday. With or without you.
He'll wait.
He'll always wait. The officer picked up his phone. He made a call. He spoke in low tones. He nodded. He hung up.
Follow me, he said.
I'm getting you on that plane. Welcome to Gentle Drama. Subscribe and hit like to see more new interesting stories. My name is Zoe. I'm 26 years old. I live in a small town in Ohio called Millbrook. Population 4,000. The kind of town where everyone knows everyone, and the biggest event of the year is the county fair. The kind of town where secrets don't stay buried and dreams don't survive unless they fit inside the town limits. I grew up in a white house with blue shutters on Maple Street. The same house my grandparents had bought in the 1950s. The same house my father had grown up in. The same house where I was supposed to raise my own children someday, according to my mother's plan. My father, Richard, is 62 years old. He owns a chain of hardware stores. 3 of them. He inherited the business from his father, who inherited it from his father. The Turner family has been selling hammers and nails and paint in this town for 4 generations. My mother, Patricia, is 59. She's a homemaker. She volunteers at the church. She organizes the food drive. She runs the garden club. She is respected, admired, and absolutely ruthless when she doesn't get her way. My older brother, Mark, is 30. He's the golden child.
The heir.
The one who stayed. He married a girl named Brittany, whose parents own the local car dealership. They have 2 children, a boy and a girl, and a house in the new subdivision on the edge of town. They come to Sunday dinner every week. They sit in the same seats. They eat the same food. They have the same conversations. I am the disappointment. Not because I did anything wrong. Because I wanted something different. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to fall in love with someone my parents didn't choose. I wanted to live my own life. My mother has been telling me what to do since I was born. Zoe, wear this dress. Zoe, sit up straight. Zoe, don't talk to those people. Zoe, major in business, not art. Zoe, stay away from that boy. Zoe, marry this one. I obeyed for 25 years. I wore the dresses. I sat up straight. I avoided the wrong people. I majored in business. I stayed away from the boys she didn't approve of. I didn't marry anyone. Then I met Alex. Alex is British. He lives in London. He works as a software engineer, but he writes poetry in his spare time. He is kind and patient and funny. He has a smile that makes me forget that I'm scared. We met online, on a forum for people who love classic literature. I posted about Jane Austen. He replied. We started talking. Private messages became emails. Emails became video calls. Video calls became something I couldn't live without. We talked for 2 years before we admitted we were in love. 2 years of late nights and early mornings. 2 years of time zones and goodbyes. 2 years of telling each other our secrets, our fears, our dreams. He proposed through a video call. It wasn't romantic. Not in the traditional sense. He was in his tiny flat, wearing a wrinkled shirt, holding a ring that was too expensive for his salary. "I know this isn't how it's supposed to be done," he said, "but I can't wait any longer. I love you, Zoe. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Will you marry me?"
I said yes.
I didn't tell my parents. Not right away. I knew what would happen. The tears. The guilt. The "you're throwing your life away." The "you don't even know him." The "what about us?" I wanted to be sure before I started a war. I was sure. The first time I mentioned Alex, my mother laughed. "London," she said. She was sitting at the kitchen table, drinking her morning coffee, reading the newspaper. The same routine she had followed for 30 years. "You're going to move to London? For a man you've never met in person?" We video chatted. Every day. For 2 years. Video chatting isn't the same as real life. I know. That's why I want to visit. I want to see him. I want to see if we're as compatible in person as we are online. And if you are, what then? Then I want to move there. Start a life with him. My mother put down her coffee cup. Her face went pale. The color drained from her cheeks like water from a sink. "You can't be serious." "I'm serious." "You're going to leave your family? Your home? Everything you've ever known? For a man you've never touched? For the man I love? You don't know what love is. I know what it isn't. It isn't control. It isn't guilt. It isn't being told what to do every day of your life." My mother stood up. She walked out of the kitchen. She didn't speak to me for 3 days. My father spoke to me instead. He found me in the backyard, sitting on the old swing set that had been there since I was a child. The chains were rusted. The seat was cracked. But it still swung. It still moved. It still worked. "Zoe, your mother is devastated." "I know, Dad. She's been crying every night. She can't eat. She can't sleep. She's worried about you." "I'm sorry she's upset. But I can't live my life for her. I can't stay here forever just to make her happy. You've always been headstrong. Independent. We admired that about you. But this is too much. You're talking about moving to another continent. Another country. Another world. I know. For a man we've never met. A man we know nothing about. You could meet him. He's offered to fly here. He's offered to talk to you on the phone. He's offered to write you letters. You've refused every time. We don't need to meet him to know he's not right for you. Then what is it? Is it because he's not from here? Is it because he doesn't have enough money? Is it because he's not the son of someone you know? Is it because he's not Mark?" My father didn't answer. He just stared at the ground. "There's no right answer, is there?" I said. "You just don't want me to leave. You want me to stay here, in this town, in this house, in this life that you chose for me. You want me to be like Mark, to marry someone you approve of, to work at the hardware store, to give you grandchildren you can see every Sunday. We want you to be happy. I am happy. With him. Far away from here. This conversation isn't over." "Yes, it is." I walked back inside. I went to my room. I closed the door. I started planning my escape. The passport was the first thing they took. I didn't notice at first. It was in my nightstand drawer, where I always kept it, next to an old photograph of my grandmother and a necklace she had given me before she died. I opened the drawer one morning, looking for something else. The passport was gone. I searched the room, the closet, the dresser, the bathroom, under the bed, behind the books, in the laundry basket, in the pockets of my winter coat. Nothing. I confronted my mother. "Where is my passport?" "Safe." "Safe where?" "Somewhere you can't find it. You have no right to take my passport." "I have every right. You're my daughter. You live under my roof. You eat my food. You use my electricity. I'm responsible for you until you move out. I'm 26 years old. You're not responsible for me. You haven't been responsible for me for 8 years. Then move out. You know I can't. You know I don't have enough money. You've made sure of that. She smiled. Not a warm smile. A cold one. A smile that said, I win. Then I guess you'll have to stay. The week after my parents took my passport was the longest week of my life. I woke up every morning hoping it had been a dream, that my mother had changed her mind, that my father had found the passport and slipped it back into my drawer, that I would open my eyes and everything would be normal, that the sun would shine, the birds would sing, and my life would still be mine. It wasn't. The drawer was still empty. The house was still quiet. My mother still looked at me like I was a stranger who had overstayed her welcome. Her eyes followed me everywhere. The kitchen, the living room, the hallway. Her gaze was a leash, and she was pulling it tighter every day. I searched the house when they were gone. Every room, every closet, every drawer. The attic, where dust covered boxes of memories I didn't want. The basement, where spiders had made homes in the corners. The garage, where my father's tools hung on pegboards in neat, military rows. The shed in the backyard, where my mother stored her gardening supplies. I looked under mattresses, behind pictures, inside shoes, between the pages of books on shelves that hadn't been touched in years. I checked coat pockets. I checked the pockets of clothes hanging in my parents' closet. I even checked the freezer because I had heard stories of people hiding valuables in frozen vegetables. Nothing. My mother was good at hiding things. She had been hiding things her whole life. Her disappointment in me, her contempt for my choices, her fear that I would leave, her resentment that my father hadn't been more successful, her jealousy of her own sister, who had moved to Florida and never looked back. She hid all of it behind a mask of smiles and Sunday dinners and volunteer work at the church. The day I turned 18, she had sat me down at the kitchen table. Same table. Same chairs. Same floral wallpaper that hadn't been changed since the 1980s. She had cooked my favorite meal, lasagna, garlic bread, chocolate cake for dessert. I thought she was celebrating. You're an adult now, she said. You can make your own decisions. But remember, every decision has consequences. I didn't understand then. I thought she was talking about college, about boys, about the normal things mothers warn their daughters about. Don't drink too much. Don't stay out too late. Don't trust everyone you meet. I understand now. The consequence of leaving was losing my family. The consequence of choosing Alex was being erased. The consequence of disobedience was exile. She wasn't warning me about the world. She was warning me about her. I called Alex that night. I waited until my parents were asleep. I waited until the house was dark and quiet. I waited until I could hear my father's snoring from down the hall. Then I pulled out my phone, wrapped myself in a blanket, and sat in the corner of my room where my voice wouldn't carry. He answered on the first ring, as if he had been waiting by the phone. He probably had. He always did.
Zoe.
What's wrong? My parents took my passport. Silence. Zoe. I can't find it anywhere. I've looked everywhere. Every drawer. Every closet. Every corner of this house. They've hidden it. They're trying to keep me here. I'll come to you. I'll fly to Ohio. I'll talk to them. I'll explain. I'll make them understand. It won't matter. They won't listen. They've already decided. They've already made up their minds. They don't want to understand. They want to control. Then we'll find another way. There's always another way. There's always a solution.
How?
How can we find another way? I don't have a passport. I don't have any identification. I don't have money. I don't have a car. I don't have anything. I'll call the embassy. I'll talk to a lawyer. I'll find out if you can get a replacement passport without your parents' help. There has to be a way. There's always a way. They're my parents. They're not holding me hostage. They're just controlling you, manipulating you, holding you prisoner in your own home. Yes. Then we fight back. We don't give up. We don't let them win. I'm so scared, Alex. I know. I'm scared too. But we're going to get through this. Together. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the sounds of the house. The creak of the floorboards, the hum of the furnace, the distant rumble of my father's snoring, the soft footsteps of my mother getting up to use the bathroom, the click of her door closing. I had lived in this house my whole life. I knew every sound, every smell, every shadow. I knew where the floorboards creaked on the stairs. I knew which faucet dripped in the guest bathroom. I knew which window stuck in summer and which door wouldn't close in winter. I knew the rhythm of the house, the way it breathed, the way it settled at night. I knew everything about this house. And I hated it. Not the house itself. The house was fine. It was a good house. A solid house. A house that had sheltered generations of my family. My grandfather had built the addition on the back. My grandmother had planted the rose bushes by the front door. My father had painted the shutters himself. I hated what it represented. The obligation to stay. The guilt of leaving. The weight of expectations that pressed down on me every time I walked through the front door. Every time I sat down to dinner. Every time I smiled and nodded and pretended that I was happy when I was drowning. I thought about Alex. About his flat in London. About the tiny kitchen with the counter space the size of a cutting board. About the cramped bedroom where the bed touched both walls. About the view of the neighbor's washing line and the brick wall and the patch of gray sky. He had sent me pictures. He had shown me around on video calls. He had described the sounds of his neighborhood. The buses, the sirens, the laughter of children playing in the street. I had imagined myself there, making breakfast in that kitchen, sleeping in that bed, watching the London rain fall outside that window. I had imagined myself walking the streets he walked, drinking coffee in the cafes he loved, building a life in a city that was not my own. I wanted it so badly I could taste it. The next morning, I tried to reason with my mother. She was in the kitchen, making breakfast. Bacon sizzled in a pan. Eggs cracked into a bowl. The coffee maker gurgled. The radio played old country songs, the kind my grandmother used to listen to. She didn't look happy. She didn't look sad. She looked like a woman performing a duty she had performed 1,000 times before. Mom, can we talk? I'm busse. It's important. Everything is important with you.
She didn't look at me.
She just kept cooking. The bacon was burning. She didn't seem to notice. The eggs were overcooking. She didn't seem to care. I need my passport. No, you don't. Yes, I do. I need to visit Alex. I need to see him. I need to know if this is real. I need to touch him. I need to hold him. I need to see if the way I feel on the phone is the way I feel in person. It's not real. It's a fantasy. A dream. You're living in a fantasy world, Zoe. It's time to wake up. I am awake. For the first time in my life, I'm awake. I'm not sleepwalking anymore. I'm not just going through the motions. She turned off the stove. She turned to face me. Her eyes were cold. Her hands were shaking. You want to know where your passport is?
Fine.
It's in my safe.
And you're not getting it. Not now.
Not ever. You're not going to London. You're not going to see him. You're not going to throw your life away for a man you've never met. He's not a stranger. I know him. I know him better than I know most people. I know his hopes. I know his fears. I know his dreams. I know what makes him laugh. I know what makes him cry. You know a version of him. The version he shows you on a screen. People aren't the same in person. You don't know what he's really like. You don't know his habits, his temper, his flaws. I'm willing to find out. I'm willing to take that risk. I'm not. You don't have a choice. Yes, I do. I'm your mother. As long as you live in this house, you follow my rules. And my rule is no London.
No Alex.
No leaving. Not while you're under my roof. Then I'll leave. I'll find somewhere else to stay. I'll sleep on a friend's couch. I'll sleep in a shelter. I'll sleep on the street. I don't care. With what money? With what car? With what phone? Everything you have belongs to us. Your phone is on our plan. Your car is in our name. Your clothes are in our house. You have nothing. Then I'll start from nothing. I'll build something new. You'll fail. Maybe. But at least I'll fail on my own terms. I went to my father next. He was in the garage, tinkering with his car. The hood was up. His hands were greasy. He didn't look up when I walked in. He just kept working, turning a wrench, tightening a bolt, pretending I wasn't there. Dad, I need to talk to you. About what?
About Mom.
About the passport. About Alex. About my future. I don't want to get in the middle of this. You're already in the middle. You're my father. You're supposed to protect me. You're supposed to stand up for me. From what? From her.
He stopped. He looked at me.
His face was tired. His eyes were sad. His hands were greasy. He looked old. Older than I remembered. Your mother loves you. She has a funny way of showing it. She's scared. Of what? Of losing you. Of being alone. Of having nothing left when you're gone. So she's holding me hostage? She's locking me in my room? She's stealing my passport. She's trying to protect you. She's trying to keep you safe. From what? From being happy? From falling in love? From living my own life? From making my own mistakes? He didn't answer. He just went back to his car. I called Alex again that night. My voice was shaking. My hands were shaking. My whole body was shaking. The embassy said you can get an emergency passport, he said. But you need to go in person. You need to fill out forms. You need to bring identification. You need to prove who you are. I can't get there. I don't have a car. I don't have money for a bus. I don't have money for a train. I don't have anything. Then I'll send you money. I'll wire it to you. I'll find a way. She'll find out. She'll intercept it. She'll take it. She'll find some excuse to take it. Then I'll come to you. I'll fly to Ohio. I'll pick you up. I'll drive you to the embassy myself. You don't know where I live. You don't know my parents. They won't let you in the door. They'll call the police. They'll have you arrested. Then I'll wait outside. I'll wait as long as it takes. I'll sleep in my car. I'll eat fast food. I'll survive. Alex. I love you, Zoe. I'm not giving up. I'm not letting them win. We're going to be together. One way or another. This isn't the end. This is just the beginning. The knock came at 2 p.m. on a Thursday. I was in my room, staring at the wall, wondering how my life had become something I didn't recognize. The wall was beige. The carpet was brown. The curtains were the same floral print my mother had chosen when I was 12. Everything in this room was a relic of a person I used to be. A girl who obeyed. A girl who stayed silent. A girl who didn't know there was a world beyond this town. My mother was in the living room, pretending to read a book. I had seen her on the same page for an hour. She wasn't reading. She was watching, waiting, making sure I didn't try anything. Her eyes followed me everywhere. The kitchen, the hallway, the bathroom. Every step I took, she was there. My father was at work. The house was quiet. The kind of quiet that feels like a held breath, like the moment before a storm, like the second before everything changes. The knock was soft.
Tentative.
Almost apologetic. 3 small raps, like a child asking permission to enter. My mother went to the door. I heard her open it. I heard her gasp. Mom, what are you doing here? I've come to see my granddaughter. The voice was old.
Frail.
But steady. It was my grandmother. My father's mother. The woman my mother had tried to keep away from me for years. The woman who had called me every birthday, every Christmas, every holiday, but had never been allowed to visit. The woman who had sent cards and letters that my mother intercepted and threw away. I walked to the living room. My grandmother was standing in the doorway, leaning on her cane. She was 84 years old. Her hair was white. Her face was lined. Her eyes were sharp and bright and alive. She was wearing a simple blue dress and practical shoes. She looked out of place in my mother's perfect living room. Hello, Zoe. Grandma, what are you doing here? I've been trying to reach you. Your mother hasn't been forwarding my calls. My mother's face went red. I've been busy. You know how things are. You've been hiding. My grandmother walked past her into the living room. She sat down on the couch without being invited. She looked at me. Your father told me what happened. About the passport. About London. About the young man. You know about Alex? I know everything.
I've always known everything.
I just haven't been allowed to say anything. She looked at my mother. Her eyes were cold. The kind of cold that comes from decades of disappointment, decades of watching her son marry a woman who didn't respect her, decades of being pushed to the margins of her own family. Patricia, leave us. Mom, leave us.
Now.
My mother left. The door closed behind her. I heard her footsteps go to the kitchen. I heard the kettle start to boil. She was making tea, pretending everything was normal. My grandmother patted the couch next to her. Sit down, Zoe. We need to talk.
Iset.
She took my hand. Her fingers were thin and bony, but her grip was strong. She smelled like lavender and old books and the faint scent of the peppermints she always carried in her purse. I know what it's like to want to leave, she said. I know what it's like to be trapped. I know what it's like to have someone tell you that you can't. Grandma, your grandfather was a good man, but he was also a controlling man. He didn't want me to work. He didn't want me to have friends. He didn't want me to leave the house without his permission. He didn't want me to have a life that didn't revolve around him.
He wanted me small.
He wanted me quiet. He wanted me invisible. I didn't know. No one ever told me. No one knew. No one ever knew. I kept it hidden. Just like your mother keeps her control hidden. Just like your father keeps his silence hidden. We're a family of secrets, Zoe. We always have been. We smile for the cameras. We pose for the family photos. But behind closed doors, we are strangers. How did you escape? I didn't.
He died.
That was my escape. I waited 30 years for him to die.
Iset her.
My grandfather had died when I was 10. I remembered him as a quiet man, a man who sat in his recliner and watched television and rarely spoke to anyone.
I had thought he was shy.
I had thought he was introverted. I had no idea. Don't look at me like that, she said. I'm not proud of it.
I'm ashamed.
I wasted my life waiting for a man to die so I could finally live. I wasted 30 years hoping for freedom that only came through death. Why are you telling me this? Because I don't want you to make the same mistake. I don't want you to waste your life waiting for permission that will never come. I don't want you to look back when you're my age and realize you've spent your whole life in a cage. Mom has my passport. I can't leave without it. I know. I can't get a new one without identification. I don't have a driver's license. I don't have a state ID. I have nothing. I know. I can't get identification without leaving the house. And I can't leave the house without her permission. I know. Then what do I do? How do I get out? My grandmother reached into her purse. She pulled out a small envelope. It was worn. It had been opened and closed many times. I've been saving for years. For emergencies. For freedom. For you. She handed me the envelope. I opened it. Inside was a stack of cash. Hundreds. Thousands. I didn't count. I couldn't. My hands were shaking. Grandma, this is enough for a bus ticket. Enough for a plane ticket. Enough for a new life. Enough to get you to London. Enough to get you to Alex. Enough to get you away from her. I can't take this. This is your money. Your savings. You can. You will.
This isn't a gift.
It's an investment. I'm investing in your future. In your freedom. In your happiness. In the life I never got to live. Mom will kill you when she finds out. Your mother doesn't scare me. She never has. She's a bully. And bullies only have power when you give it to them. She'll cut you off. She'll never speak to you again. That would be a blessing. My grandmother stayed for an hour. She told me about her life. About the dreams she had given up. About the places she had wanted to go. About the person she had wanted to become. She told me about the summer she almost left, the summer of 1968, when she had a ticket to California and a friend waiting for her. She told me about the night before she was supposed to leave, when her husband found the ticket and burned it in the fireplace. I stood there and watched it burn, she said. I watched my future go up in smoke. And I didn't say a word. I didn't fight. I didn't scream. I just went back to the kitchen and made him dinner. Why didn't you leave anyway? Where would I go? I had no money.
No job.
No education. No friends who could take me in. I was trapped. Just like you're trapped now. But you're helping me escape. Because you have somewhere to go. You have someone waiting for you. You have a future that isn't here. I didn't have that. I had nothing. I had no one. Don't be me, Zoe. Don't wake up one day and realize you've spent your whole life in a cage. Don't wait until you're 84 to start living. I won't. When you leave, don't look back. Don't let guilt bring you home.
Don't let their tears make you stay.
Don't let them make you feel like you're destroying the family. The family was already destroyed. You're just the first one brave enough to admit it. I promise. Promise me you'll live. Promise me you'll be happy. Promise me you won't waste your life like I wasted mine. I promise. She stood up. She kissed my forehead. Her lips were dry. Her hands were shaking. She walked to the door. Grandma? She turned. Thank you. For everything.
For the money.
For the advice. For being here. Don't thank me. Just live. Live the life I never got to live. She walked out.
The door closed.
I heard her footsteps fade down the front steps. I looked at the envelope in my hands. The cash inside. The weight of it. The weight of her hope. The weight of her regret. The weight of her freedom, given to me. I left my grandmother's envelope on the nightstand for 3 days. Every night I opened it. I counted the money. I held the bills in my hands, feeling their weight, their promise, their danger. Every night, I imagined what I could do with it. A bus ticket to New York. A plane ticket to London. A new life. A new name. A new me. Every morning, I closed it. I put it back in the drawer. I went downstairs. I ate breakfast. I smiled at my mother. I made small talk with my father. I pretended everything was normal. I played the role of the obedient daughter one more time. My mother watched me. She knew something had changed. She could feel it. The shift in the air. The tension in my shoulders. The way I didn't flinch when she made her little comments. The way I didn't argue when she told me what to do. The way I said yes, Mom, and no, Mom, and whatever you say, Mom, with a smile on my face. You're quiet this morning.
I'm tired.
You're always tired. I have a lot on my mind. Like what? Like my future. She didn't ask any more questions.
She didn't want to know the answer.
She was afraid of what I might say. Afraid of the truth. Afraid that her control was slipping. On the 4th day, I made my plan. I would leave on a Saturday. My father would be at work. He worked every Saturday, the same shift he had worked for 20 years. 9 to 5. Reliable. Predictable. Easy to plan around. My mother would be at her garden club meeting. She went every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. She had been going for years. It was her escape, her time away from the house, her chance to pretend she was something other than a woman who controlled her daughter's life. I would have 3 hours. 3 hours to pack. 3 hours to get to the bus station. 3 hours to start my new life. 3 hours to become someone my mother couldn't touch. I called Alex. I'm leaving on Saturday. Are you sure? Are you absolutely sure? I'm sure. I've never been more sure of anything. What do you need from me? What can I do? I need you to be at the airport in London. I need you to be there when I land. I need you to be real. I need to see your face. I need to touch your hand. I need to know that this is happening. I'll be there. I promise. I'll be the first person you see. I'll be waiting at the gate. I'll have a sign with your name on it. I'll have flowers. I'll have everything. What if I don't make it? What if something goes wrong? You'll make it. You're stronger than you know. You've survived them for 26 years. You can survive one more day. Saturday morning arrived like a thief. I woke up at 5 a.m. The house was dark. The sun hadn't risen. The birds weren't singing. The world was still asleep. The only sound was the ticking of the clock on my nightstand and the distant hum of the refrigerator downstairs. I lay in bed for a moment, staring at the ceiling. The crack in the plaster looked like a lightning bolt. I had been staring at that crack for 26 years. It was the only thing in this room that had never changed. I got up. I dressed in silence.
Jeans.
A sweater. Comfortable shoes for walking. Clothes that wouldn't draw attention. Clothes that would let me blend in.
I packed a bag.
One bag. A small duffel.
Clothes.
My grandmother's necklace. The envelope of cash. My phone charger. A toothbrush. Nothing else. Everything else could be replaced. Everything else could be left behind. The books on my shelf. The posters on my wall. The stuffed animals on my bed. Memories. Objects. Things that didn't matter. I wrote a letter. Not to my mother. Not to my father. To my grandmother. Dear Grandma, I'm leaving. I'm doing what you never got to do. I'm going to live. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to make you proud. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for giving me a chance. Thank you for showing me that family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up. I love you, Zoe. I folded the letter. I put it on the kitchen table, right in the center, where my mother would see it as soon as she came home. I weighted it down with a salt shaker, so it wouldn't blow away. Then I walked out the front door. I didn't look back. I didn't hesitate. I didn't let myself think about what I was leaving behind. I just walked. The bus station was 30 minutes away. I took a taxi. The driver was a man in his 60s with gray hair and kind eyes. He didn't ask questions. He just drove. The world blurred past the window. Houses,
Trees. Fields.
signs for towns I'd never visited, roads I'd never traveled. I thought about my mother, about what she would say when she found the letter, about whether she would cry, about whether she would even notice I was gone, about whether she would call the police, about whether she would try to stop me. I thought about my father, about whether he would defend me, about whether he would finally stand up to her, about whether he would regret all the years of silence. I thought about my grandmother, about her smile, about her courage, about the years she had wasted, about the look in her eyes when she handed me the envelope, about the way she said, "Don't be me." I wouldn't waste mine. The bus station was small. A few benches, a ticket counter, a vending machine that didn't work, a clock on the wall that was 10 minutes slow, a bathroom that smelled like bleach and regret, a handful of travelers waiting for their rides, staring at their phones, lost in their own worlds. I bought a ticket to New York, JFK Airport. From there, a plane to London. From there, Alex. The girl at the counter didn't ask questions. She didn't ask why I was traveling alone. She didn't ask why I had no luggage. She didn't ask why I was shaking. She just took my money and handed me a ticket. Bus leaves in 20 minutes. Gate 3. Thank you. I sat on a bench. I waited. I watched the door. Every time it opened, I flinched. Every time I saw a woman with gray hair, I held my breath. Every time I heard a voice that sounded like my mother's, I tensed. She didn't come. No one came. The bus arrived. I got on. I sat by the window. I watched the station disappear behind me. The buildings grew smaller. The streets grew wider. The town I had lived in my whole life became a dot in the distance. I was leaving. I was actually leaving. I was free. The bus arrived at JFK Airport at 1 p.m. I had never been to New York before. I had never been anywhere before. The airport was enormous, overwhelming, a maze of corridors and escalators and people rushing past with suitcases and briefcases and purpose. I stood in the middle of the terminal, clutching my duffel bag, trying not to look lost. The departures board was huge, glowing with destinations I had only seen in movies.
Paris. Rome. Tokyo.
London. London. My heart pounded. My hands were sweating. My legs were shaking. I found the ticket counter for British Airways. The line was long. I waited. I counted the minutes. I watched the clock. My flight was at 4 p.m. I had 3 hours. 3 hours to buy a ticket. 3 hours to get through security. 3 hours to reach the gate. 3 hours to be caught. When I reached the counter, the agent was a woman in her 40s with kind eyes and a badge that said, "Margaret." "Hi, I need a ticket to London." "One way or round trip?" "One way." "Do you have a passport?"
No.
The word hung in the air. Margaret's smile faded. "Ma'am, you can't fly internationally without a passport." "I know. Mine was lost. Stolen. I need an emergency passport. I was told I could get one at the airport."
Who told you that?
"My fiancé. He called the embassy." Margaret frowned. She typed something on her computer. She shook her head. "The embassy is downtown. You need to go there in person. You need to fill out forms. You need to bring identification. You can't do it here. Please. I need to get to London today."
I'm sorry.
There's nothing I can do. I walked away from the counter. I sat on a bench. I put my head in my hands. I had come so far. I had risked everything. And now I was stuck.
No passport.
No ticket. No way out. My phone buzzed. Alex, where are you? JFK. They won't let me fly without a passport. Did you go to the embassy? I can't. It's downtown. I don't have time. I don't have money for a taxi. I don't have anything. Stay there. I'm going to make some calls. Alex, stay there. Don't move. He hung up. I waited. The minutes crawled past. The crowd surged and ebbed. Families hugged. Lovers kissed. Travelers rushed. The world moved around me while I sat frozen. My phone buzzed again. An unknown number. Hello. Is this Zoe Turner? Yes. This is Officer Martinez from JFK Airport Security. I've been asked to escort you to the embassy. The embassy? Your fiancé made some calls. A lot of calls. We have a car waiting. Come to the information desk. I didn't know whether to cry or laugh. I grabbed my bag. I ran. The embassy was a gray building downtown. Officer Martinez walked me through the doors. He spoke to a woman at the front desk. She nodded. She made a phone call. She pointed down the hall. Room 217. I walked. Room 217 was a small office with a desk and a computer and an American flag. A man in a suit was sitting behind the desk. His nameplate said, Mr. Thompson. Miss Turner, have a seat.
Iset.
Your fiancé has been very persistent. He's been calling us every day for 2 weeks. I know.
I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. He's persistent. That's a good quality in a partner. He opened a folder. He pulled out forms. He pushed them across the desk. I need you to fill these out. I need you to tell me what happened to your passport. My parents took it. Why would your parents take your passport? They don't want me to leave.
They want me to stay.
They want me to marry someone they choose. They want me to live the life they plan for me. And you want something different? Yes. Mr. Thompson nodded. He didn't ask any more questions. The emergency passport took 3 hours to process. I sat in the waiting room, staring at the wall, watching the clock. The minutes crawled past. The hours crawled past. The sun sank lower in the sky. At 6 p.m., Mr. Thompson appeared in the doorway. Miss Turner, your passport is ready. He handed me a small booklet.
Blue.
Embossed with an eagle. My name inside. Thank you. Don't thank me. Thank your fiancé. He wouldn't let us say no. Officer Martinez drove me back to the airport. It was 7 p.m. My original flight had left hours ago, but Alex had booked another one. 9 p.m. British Airways. A direct flight to London. I went through security. They checked my passport. They checked my bag. They waved me through. I walked to the gate. The plane was already boarding. I handed my ticket to the attendant. She scanned it. She smiled. Welcome aboard. I walked down the jetway. The plane was huge. I found my seat. A window seat. I watched the ground crew load the luggage. I watched the sun set over the runway. My phone buzzed. I'm waiting for you.
Got the battle.
I have a sign with your name on it. I smiled. I'll be there soon. The plane took off at 9:15 p.m. I watched New York disappear beneath the clouds. The lights of the city flickered and faded. The sky turned dark. The stars appeared. I was flying. I was free. I was going home. The flight was 7 hours. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. I just stared out the window, watching the darkness, watching the stars, watching the first light of dawn appear over the Atlantic. When the pilot announced our descent into London, I started to cry. Not sad tears. Not happy tears. Just tears. The kind of tears that come when something heavy lifts and you didn't even know you were carrying it. The plane landed at 9 a.m. London time. I walked through the jetway. I walked through the terminal. I walked toward the arrivals hall. And there he was. Alex. Standing at gate B12. Holding a sign with my name on it. Holding flowers. Holding his arms open. I ran. I didn't care who was watching. I ran. He caught me. He held me. He didn't let go. You're here, he whispered. I'm here. You made it. We made it. We took a taxi to his flat. The tiny flat with the tiny kitchen and the cramped bedroom and the view of the neighbor's washing line. It was perfect. It was ours. Alex made tea. We sat on his couch. We watched the London rain fall outside the window. What happens now? He asked. Now we live. Together.
Together.
I called my grandmother that night. I made it. I knew you would. Thank you. For everything. Don't thank me. Just live. I didn't call my parents. I didn't write to them. I didn't send a letter. I didn't send a text. I didn't send anything. They had made their choice. They had chosen control over love. They had chosen fear over faith. They had chosen themselves over me. I chose myself too. Subscribe for more stories about family, betrayal, and the courage to build something new. Thank you for listening.